So this morning I'm going to do a video. This video is going to be for those who think they might be Jews, the Amish, and for Jews. But I'm going to focus on the Amish today. Those of you who've been watching my videos for a while may know that I'm of Amish heritage. What does that mean? Do Amish have a heritage? Well, I used to ask my mother when I was before my teens. I would ask my mother, what are we? Where did we come from? And her answer was always the same. Our ancestors were chased all over Europe. The Anabaptists is what they're called. It is because the Lutherans, the Catholics, and the others, mainstream religions in Europe, called them that name, Anabaptist. Means they were anti-baptism of children. So, is there another reason why the Euros hated the Anabaptists? Well, this discussion could go for days. I mean, hour after hour after hour, day after day after day. But I'm going to look a different direction today. But first and foremost, I want to talk about a lawsuit that occurred on July 24th, 2014. This lawsuit, CSUN scientists fired after soft tissue found on dinosaur fossil. Now, those of you who have any common sense at all, you know that soft tissue on any creature rots and disappears, leaving only bones remaining in a short period of time. How short? Let's continue the article and let's get some information. Los Angeles. Attorneys for a California State University Northridge scientist who was terminated from his job after discovering soft tissue on a Triceratops fossil, having filed a lawsuit against the... What in the world is did a university fire him for finding soft tissue on a Triceratops fossil? What? Why? I'll tell you why. And they will show you why. Well, I need to... Okay, it's right here. While at the Hell Creek Formation excavation site in Montana, researcher Mark Armitage discovered what he believed to be the largest Triceratops horn ever unearthed at the site. So it's kind of hard to dispute it if it is the largest Triceratops horn found at that site. According to attorney Brad Dacus of Pacific Justice Institute, upon examination of the horn under high-powered microscope back at CSUN, Dacus said Armitage was fascinated to find soft tissue on the sample, a discovery Dacus said stunned members of the school's biology department and even some students because it indicates that dinosaurs roamed the earth only thousands of years in the past rather than going extinct 60 million years ago. Since I was young, I always pointed out the folly of dinosaurs dating back to 60 million years ago. Those of you who bother to read Marco Polo, you know that that's a lie. And yet these scientists had the audacity to claim that these dinosaur bones are 60 million years old. They don't know how to date. It is impossible for them to date stuff back then. It's impossible. It can't be done. Just because they claim it can be done, doesn't make it so. We'll go to Marco Polo. Adventures of... I want to go to the film. Yes, hold on. And Dinosaurs. Well, okay, hold on. Marco Polo's dragons. Marco Polo, the great explorer, reported seeing, as he called it, dragons, or as they try to call it today, dinosaurs. Why would they call them dinosaurs rather than dragons? So as not to... Okay, let me rephrase that. To create a different narrative than what's in the Bible. The book, The Travels of Marco Polo, is a written record which chronicles the adventures and travels of Marco Polo experience while exploring the Eastern world. In Part 2, Chapter 40, you can look it up for yourself, Marco Polo reports what he describes as huge serpents. The description given sounds in many ways no different than a description given of the dinosaurs in the text books. And here's what he wrote. Leaving the city of Yachi and traveling 10 days into a westerly direction, you reach the province of Karazhan. Karazhan, that's, I believe, on the eastern part of Iran or western part of Hindu Kush, something like that, which is also the name of the chief city. Here are seen huge serpents 10 paces in length, about 30 feet long, and 10 spans, about 8 feet girth of the body. At the forepart near the head, they have 2 short legs having 3 claws, like those of a tiger, with eyes larger than a 4-penny loaf, and very glaring. The jaws are wide enough to swallow a man. The teeth are sharp and large, and their whole appearance is so formidable that neither man nor any kind of animal can approach them without terror. Others are met with a smaller size, speaking of different types of dinosaurs, being 8, 6, or 5 paces long, and the following method is used for taking them. In the daytime, by reason of the great heat, they lurk in caverns from where at night they issue to seek their food, and whatever beast they might meet with, and can lay hold of, whether a tiger, a wolf, or any other, they devour. After which they drag themselves toward some lake, spring of water, or river in order to drink, and by their motion in this way along the shore and their vast weight they make a deep impression, as if a heavy beam had been drawn along the sands. Those whose employment is to hunt them observe the track by which they are most frequently accustomed to, and fix to ground several pieces of wood armed with sharp iron spikes, which they cover in sand in such a manner as not to be perceptible. And when therefore the animal makes their way toward the places they usually haunt, they are wounded by the instruments and speedily killed. The crows, as soon as they perceive them to be dead, set up to scream, and thus serves as a signal to the hunters, who advance the spot and proceed to separate the skin from the flesh, taking care immediately to secure the gall, which is most highly esteemed in medicine. In cases of the bite of a mad dog, a pennyweight of it dissolved in wine is administered. So they think that the gall of the dinosaur or the dragon is a cure for rabies. Maybe it was. I don't know. It is also useful in accelerating parturition. When labor pains of women have come on, a small quantity of being applied to carbuncles, pustules, and other eruptions on the body, they are presently dispersed and is efficacious in many other complaints. The flesh also of the animal is sold at a dear rate, prime rate, being thought to have a higher flavor than other kinds of meat, and by all persons it is esteemed a delicacy. The Travels of Marco Polo, 1948, Book 2, etc., etc. Now you know the real reason why dinosaurs went extinct. Or dragons went extinct. But I'm not here to talk about this. This is not what I'm talking about. What I'm saying is this. What I'm getting at is these evolutionists who study dinosaurs have been proven to be quacks and frauds, and this goes into the next subject at hand. When I say quacks and frauds, I mean concerning radiocarbon dating. Now, I want to go to something that I spotted on Quora. And a question was asked way up here. What results do Ashkenazi Jews receive on DNA tests? Are there any Ashkenazi Jews willing to share their results? There is something that I do want to show you, because Gedmatch has been, as far as I am concerned, and when I say most reliable, I don't mean reliable at all, but more reliable, say, than Ancestry.com, FTDNA, 23andMe, etc. The reason why I say that is because, for instance, Ancestry.com has shown many of my cousins to have Jewish ancestry. Many of them. About half of my second cousins and first and third cousins, because there was only maybe one of my first cousins that has used Ancestry.com at all. And then they changed their algorithm and suddenly nothing of Ashkenazi Jews in them. Well, see, that's impossible, folks. You can't sit there and 1 minute say half of the Amish folks, or at least half of the ones I'm related to, have Jewish ancestry, and then the next day that, no, that's not true. It doesn't work like that, folks. So what I did, I want to show you a little bit about the Gedmatch Gedrosia K6 Ancient Eurasia. What is that? What is that all about? Well, before I go to Gedmatch, what I'm going to do is show you this particular study. So they focus on 6 different groups. What are they? Ancient North Eurasian, that would be Russia, the Scandinavian countries. Western European hunter-gatherer, that's obvious right there. I don't need to explain that one. Ancient South Eurasian, that would be more like Eastern Europe. East Asia, or Eastern Europe and Turkey. East Asia, that's obvious what East Asia is. That would be China, Japan, Philippines, etc. Sub-Saharan Africa, that's obvious what that is. That is Black Africa. Not North Africa, but Black Africa. And Natufian. Natufian. Now, what I want to do is, let's go look at Natufian, shall we? What is the first thing that you see? What is the first thing that you see? Those of you who are good in geography will notice something very interesting. Especially those of you with Jewish heritage will notice something different. That's why I'm telling you this is for those who think that they are Jews, those that are Jews, and the Amish. I'll get to the Amish in just a minute. Those of you of Jewish heritage, Zionists, and all of that, you know right away what this map is right here. You know exactly what it is. What is it? It is the kingdom of David and the kingdom of Solomon. I'll provide proof. Watch this. All right? How about that? It's the exact same map. David's kingdom, 790 BCE, and Solomon's kingdom, 930 BCE. I don't know why they have Solomon's king. Oh, this, what they have as Solomon's kingdom, it should be Rehoboam's kingdom. Okay? But the kingdom of David, essentially. So this map that we just saw, what happened to my, hold on. This map that we just saw is essentially the kingdom of David, the Natufian map. Well, there's a problem. What is the problem? The problem is, it says the Natufian culture is a late Paleolithic agricultural culture of the Levant. Notice that they don't want to say the land of Israel. That's your first clue. Dating to around 15,000 to 11,500 years ago. Well, you see, folks, that was the reason why I brought up the Triceratops controversy and the scientists getting fired for telling the truth. That means that Natufian culture was not 15,000 to 11,500 years ago, because their method of dating is false. Now, you ready for some clues? Here are some clues. The culture was unusual, abnormal, different, in that it supported a sedentary or sedentary population even before the introduction of agriculture. All right. Sedentary. Hunters and gatherers are not sedentary. We know this. Farmers are not sedentary. We know this. How then could they have been sedentary and originally been neither hunters nor gatherers? Well, that's impossible. Neither hunters nor gatherers and not farmers. That is impossible unless a, a miracle food was provided for them. That's right. I know exactly what you're thinking. Manna. 40 years in the wilderness, not being farmers. 40 years in the wilderness, not being hunters and gatherers, but eating manna. When did the introduction of agriculture occur? When they came out of the desert and took the promised land. You see, they were around in this area, and they roamed around this area here before they crossed the Jordan River. There. You see? Now, they're saying, who are the Natufians and what did they do? They were complex, semi-sedentary hunters. No. When you read, let's see here, you cannot be sedentary and hunters and gatherers at the same time. You see, right here it says sedentary or semi-sedentary before the introduction of agriculture. All right, I'm not going to argue this anymore. You can see the map where they were in ancient Israel. So this map, what this map does is it confesses that these people lived in ancient Israel in the days of King David. The map is you see, folks, what I'm saying is a picture is worth 1,000 words. They say one thing, but the picture where they were located tells all you need to know. Now, so what I did was I went and did a little research. Took me some time. I think it's this one. Yes, on Quora. So the question was asked, what results do Ashkenazi Jews receive on DNA tests? Are there any Ashkenazi Jews willing to share their results? Now, I'm going to hold my thought there, and I'm going to go to Gedmatch. I'm here. We're going to go to admixture first. We're going to select Euro genes. Although I could go to Gedrosia DNA. I'm going to go to Euro genes first. I'm going to show you something here. Now, J-test, Jew test. There's my kit number. I'll leave that blank. And let me show you what comes up first. Now, of all the DNA websites that I have used, Gedmatch has been the most consistent. They don't waver. They don't go back and forth. So here's what they show. South Baltic, 10.5%. East Euro, 8.5%. North Central Euro, 26.35%. Atlantic, 22%. West Mediterranean, 15.4%. Ashkenazi Jewish, 3.35%. It shows my mom at 5% Ashkenazi Jew and my dad at 4%. Okay. Then you have East Mediterranean, 10.28%. Well, if that's not a eye-opener, then I don't know what is. And then, of course, West Asian. Well, West Asian can mean Turkey. So what we have here is we've got a 16% of something that is not like the rest of it. Okay, so let's then let's go backwards. We'll go to Gedrosia. Ancient Eurasia K6. Enter my kit number, and what do you see? Oh, well, look what we have here. Ancestral North Eurasian, 18.17%. East Asian is 1.65%. West European hunter-gatherer, 39.94 or 98%, and Natufian, 40.2%. Now, in many of the other DNA websites, it shows European hunter-gatherer and also European farmer to be about the same in percentage. These Natufians, they were farmers. They were not hunters and gatherers. 40%. The majority, by a very slim margin, 40%. Now that I've done that, we're going to go back to this particular Quora question. Amish folks, I hope you're watching. You say you're Germans. You're not. You're mixed. Just like me. What result do Ashkenazi Jews receive on DNA tests? Are there any Ashkenazi Jews willing to share the results? So Linda Nicola says, surprise, Ashkenazi Jews are genetically European. To that I say, really? Okay. And then there's Jonas Stern. And we keep going down, scroll down further, further. And it just goes on and on and on. Gotta make sure that I don't skip over this because this is very important. Reuben Hyatt. He says he is 99% European Jewish and my family's from Ukraine, Poland. I ran my DNA through Gedmatch and this is what I got. So he went through all these different calculations that Gedmatch has. For those of you who want to go and use Gedmatch, it's going to take you a couple of years to figure it out. Okay, just so you know. Neolithic, North African. That should have told him something right there. Neolithic, North African. All right, North African is where many Jews traversed around. And it continues. This is just one man's, and look what we have here. Look what we have here. The same one, Ancient Eurasia K6, the one that I just showed you. Mine, this man is 99% Ashkenazi Jew, and I am not disputing him. I'm not disputing him at all. His pie chart shows about 48% Natufian. Now I want to show you my Gedmatch again. Mine shows 40% Natufian. Based on what we just learned today, you Amish folks, based upon this young man's Reuben Hyatt, he's 99% European Jewish. All right? And apparently they're using, he is using all the ancient calculations on Gedmatch, and lo and behold, Natufian, 48%. He's got a good chunk of ancestral North Eurasian, and he's got a good chunk of Western European hunter-gatherer. So do I. And his largest chunk, 48%, 48 to 49, looks like 48%, is Natufian. Well, mine is not quite as large as his is, but it comes pretty close. I'm slightly more European than he is, but only slightly. So you Amish folks, the vast majority of you are my third cousins. Let's be honest about it. You want to say you are Germans, right? You want to follow along Martin Luther. Remember Martin Luther, whose Bible you Amish use, ordered the murders of both the Jews and the Anabaptists. You know this. It's in your Martyr's Mirror book. You know about this. Just like I know about it. You're not German. Because if you were German, this 100% Jewish fellow would also be German, and he's not. He's 99% European Jewish. What does this prove? I'll tell you what it proves. Let's start in Deuteronomy 4, in verse 27, shall we? Let's go to Strong's Concordance. Warning against idolatry. The children of Israel disobeyed that warning against idolatry. Verse 27. Let's start in verse 25. When you shall beget children and grandchildren, and you have remained long in the land, and you corrupt yourselves, and you make yourselves a graven image of the likeness of anything, and you do evil in the sight of not the Lord, Jehovah Elohim, to provoke him to anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that you will soon utterly perish from off the land wherein you go over the Jordan to possess it. Your days on it will not be long, but you will utterly be destroyed, exterminated. Exterminated, exterminated. And Jehovah will scatter you among the Goy. among the Gentiles. And you shall be left few in number among the heathen, among the Goi, where Jehovah, not the Lord, shall send you. And there you will serve idols. Well, it says Elohim, the work of men's hands. So in other words, there you will serve graven images of wood and stone, which neither can see, nor hear, nor eat, nor smell. It doesn't say, but if. Only King James says that. He says, from there you will seek Jehovah Elohim, and you shall find him. In your inner man, in your heart, and in your soul. When you are in tribulation. Okay? When was Israel's tribulation? Well, the first one was, we had the lost 10 tribes was the Assyrian, but the two tribulations upon Jerusalem, which was required, was the king of Babylon and the king of Rome. Now, the last one would be the king of Rome. After that, when they are still stuck in Rome, the Roman Empire, in the Mediterranean Sea and beyond, and all these things are coming upon you in the latter days, not if. The if word is not there. Yes, it ought to be called the F word, because the if word is not there. It says, and you will return to Jehovah Elohim, and you, not if you shall be obedient unto his voice, because Jehovah Elohim is compassionate. He will not forsake you, nor destroy you, nor forget the covenant of your fathers, which he swore unto them. So you Amish, based upon the evidence that I have shown you here today, if Mr. Reuben Hyatt is a Jew, then I'm a Jew. And if I'm a Jew, based upon the evidence, the ancient evidence provided by Gedmatch, and I showed you pictures, I showed you proof. And you can ask other groups of people that are not affiliated. You go to ask the Irish, ask the Germans to show you their DNA using the Gedrosia let's see. The Gedrosia, let's see. Hold on. Gedrosia DNA Ancient Eurasia Case 6. And what you're going to find is the Irish have almost a 0. The Germans have almost 0. When you get down to the Mediterranean Sea, you'll start seeing 5 and 6%. Okay, and that's it. But when you start getting to 40 and 50% Natufian, you're measuring right up there with Reuben Hyatt. He's 99% European Jewish. His family's from Ukraine and Poland. And all of these studies, and then the one with the Gedrosia Ancient Eurasia K6 admixture proportions, almost 50% Natufian from the land of Israel. Bingo, gotcha, checkmate, What are you going to say about that? And then he has something to say here. Almost half Natufian, top that, you causers. All right. Now, this particular fella, he's using a different living DNA. Living DNA is one of the very worst. The worst! Along with 23andMe. So I posted myself somewhere down here. I don't know if I can find it. But I don't want to go too far because I want, oh, there we go. I want to stay on point. Nope. But anyway, I'll say checkmate, and you can look up Albert Einstein's nephew, I believe it was, took a DNA test. He's also an Einstein, and his haplogroup was the EB1B1B1. Was it B1 or B2 or something like that, which is Natufian. Now, my haplogroup is not Natufian. Well, wait a minute. What is it? Mine, there's a small segment of the Natufians that did have my haplogroup. And I think it was QM242 or something like that. But I don't want to steer too far away from the subject at hand here. I showed you the proof, Amish folks, and those of you who are Jewish and are Jewish genealogists, I would really like some of you to approach the Amish and explain some of these things to them. The day is going to come where they're going to see the truth, and they are going to know why, the real reason why they were persecuted and murdered in Europe. And it was not far from the reasons why you Jews were persecuted and murdered, burned at the stake, burned in your synagogues in Europe. Satan knows who his enemies are. And so to the Amish, you need to stop and examine yourselves and start digging through your history a little deeper. Find the truth. I've provided hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos on my YouTube channel about the real gospel, the salvation of all Israel, the restoration of everything Israel back to the Holy Land, which is something that all Christianity has rejected, including you Amish. But Jehovah has made a promise because of the promises that he made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's going to bring all Israel back from out of the Gentiles, where they practice paganism, bring them all back home to where the Natufians once lived, and is going to teach them there. He's going to circumcise everyone's hearts so that they will love Jehovah Elohim with all of their heart, with all of their soul, and they will reject the paganisms, the customs of the past. That is a promise that cannot be reneged upon. It is absolutely impossible, even though the Christians claim that that promise has been reneged upon. If Jehovah reneges on that promise, then he must exterminate himself, because you see, he swore by his own self that he would carry this promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob out. And the Christians want so badly for him to fail in his promise that they already guaranteed in their own religion that Christianity has replaced Israel. This is the biggest lie ever told since the lie in the Garden of Eden. So, one way or another, all the Jews, all Israel, from all 12 tribes are going to be gathered from every corner of the earth, whether they are Ashkenazi Jews, Sephardic Jews, whether they are Amish, whether they think that they're Germans, whether they think they're Americans, whether they think they're British, whether they think they're North Africans, whether they think they're Russians. It does not matter. They're in Egypt. It doesn't matter. They're all going to be gathered back home. Period. Because the promise is guaranteed.